Hello and welcome to a session on Blueprint Talent User Administration. Today's topics are users management, adding a user, profiling, user groups, exporting of users list, importing of users list, editing of users list through CSV loaders. Let's have a look at users management first. Under Blueprint Talent's administration menu, you will see different areas of system administration are divided into sections. One of these sections is the user section. In the user section, you'll find a quick search area, as well as a list of other areas of users management that you can perform on the system. Let's quickly have a look at the search function. As soon as I put the word Martin and hit search, you will notice that the system has gone and searched for the keyword Martin and brought in the user who has a Martin in his first name. Now, this could have been the last name, the login, or the email as well. The list that you see here we'll discuss shortly. Let's go back to the administration screen. Back onto the administration screen for users, I will click on the users link. This brings us back to the user list that we saw for Martin, but with all the other users here. Now let's have a look at this screen. At the top, you can see the search bar again, and you can also see an advanced search button, which allows you to put few more extra information when you're searching for users. Could be the first name, last name, their accounts, and all sorts of other things like login and email. Also, on the top right here, you can see a person icon with a star. This icon means that you can create a user clicking on this button. Then further down the list, we can see all the usernames, and you've got the first name, the last name, the login ID that they log into Blueprint with, the email address, the profile they have on the system, whether they're a learner, whether they're a manager, a supervisor, or a trainer. Then you've got the tick button, which tells us whether they're active or not. The next column tells us when this user was created on the system. And then on the right, we have a series of icons that allows us to perform certain actions on that particular user. For example, the first one tells us the courses this person is enrolled in. As you can see for Martin, he's got 4 or 5 courses he's enrolled into. The second icon is just like the courses, but this time it's about programs, the learning programs Martin's enrolled in. I is for information. It's all the information about Martin. If we click on it, you will see the details of Martin over here. His user details, social data, the programs he's enrolled in, and in the courses he's enrolled in as well. As well as you can see over here, a few top menu over here that allows me to report on Martin, log in as Martin to see his profile, edit his details, download his information as a CSV, and also publish his user information as a vCard. Going back to the users list again, the next icon we have seen here is login as, just like the one we saw in the information screen. Login as allows me to log in as Martin and see his profile. So let's click on that. As you can see, I'm logged in as Martin, and I can see the courses that Martin has to do. Now, the login as screen helps us to support a user in cases where a user has come to our support desk to say they are probably not seeing a course they've been enrolled in, or some of the courses are look differently. So we can log in as that user, go into their profile without having to require a password, and see what they see. The next on the icon list we have got is reporting. Clicking on this shows me all the reports for Martin. The courses he's in. I can look at details of his courses. I can export them out. I can also reset his course, and so on with his programs and other things that he has done. As you can see, there are a few icons over here, which allows me to print, download as a CSV, download as an Excel, send an email to Martin. Also here again, we've got the login as, and also look at his talent view. Now going back to the list again for users, looking at all the other stuff we've got here. Over here, we've got edit. This allows me to edit Martin's profile. If I click on edit, I've got Martin's name, his last name, his email address, phone number, and all other information that belongs to him. I can edit any of these. I can also assign a superior or a supervisor to Martin. And there are other fields that I can fill in for Martin, modify them, and save his account. The last one over here allows me to view Martin's talent plan. As you can see, for Martin, we haven't got any talent plan. Let's have a look at someone who's got a talent plan. So I will select someone called Brad Hill. And Brad Hill looks like he has got a talent plan, and his talent plan view looks like this. Now we will discuss talent plan and talent plan view in details when we discuss talent, which will be in another session of our Blueprint series. Going back to the users list again, we'll see right beside the talent plan view icon, there's a star. That star represents whether a user is an administrator or not. If the star is highlighted, that means the user is an administrator. If not, then it is just an ordinary user who do not have any administrative permissions on the system. The next one here is a free busy calendar. So basically calendar for Martin to see what is going on with his profile, what he's got on. So we can look at his calendar to see which classes he's going to, which programs he's got on which days, and what the staff is doing. The last icon is the delete icon. Clicking this will delete Martin's account completely off the system. So we should be careful to use this action, because this means that the details of Martin will be completely removed from the system, and it will not be recoverable without getting it from the backup. The delete icon also will prompt you to say whether you actually want to delete the users. So there is a safety check there, but it is always best to deactivate a user, like so, rather than deleting them. Deactivating a user keeps the user's account intact, i.e. they have all their data there, but their account is deactivated, so they cannot log in. And it is easy to just activate them, and all their data is there for them when they log in again. So that's the users list. Now let's go back to the administration user and look at how we can add a user. Clicking on adding a user or add a user menu, a blank form is produced, and we fill in the details of the user. If you have a red asterisk beside a field, it means that it is a mandatory field. In this case, the first name here is a mandatory, of course, so we will do we'll give it a login. And we can either allow the system to generate a password, or we can enter a password on our own. We can choose a profile, any of these 5 profiles: trainer, learner, human resource manager, supervisor, or invitee. We will choose learner. Language, in this system currently only English is available. If other languages are turned on, we'll see other languages over in the list. So we'll go on English, we'll select English. This whole system also asks me whether I want to send an email to a new user, giving them their user ID and user details so that they can log in. I'll say yes to that, which means once I create this user, it'll send an email to this email address. Then I can also say whether this account expires or not. Sometimes you have contractors who you need to create as users, and they'll have a fixed term of contract, in which cases you can actually make sure that the account gets disabled after their contract ends, which is why you can set an expiration date on this account. We'll set it as never expires for this user. We'll make the account active. And there are other information that I can also put in, which I will not at this point. I'll click add. And as soon as I click add, you can see that I get a message saying the user has been added. And so that's the easiest way to create a user. As you can see, once I add a user, I'm returned back to the user list. If I want to add another user, I can always click that icon in the corner, and it will again produce me with the blank form. Also, if you're adding users one at a time continuously, one after another, in this case, you can click on plus add plus, which will save the user you're creating and then open up the addition form again for you to add another user. Going back to our administration menu, next we've got the export users list. The export users list allow us to download a list of users in XML, CSV, or XLS format. We can also choose whether or not to add a header column. We can also choose to get the user details from a particular course only, people enrolled in a particular course, or people enrolled in a particular program. In this case, we will just download the full user list. I'll click export. And as you can see, it has given me a list of users with all the information that I can see over here. Back to the administration menu. Next in the list is the import users list. Now, this import users list allows us to upload users in bulk in the form of CSV or an XML file. We can download example CSV files to see what the format needs to be, or over here, there's a screen print here that shows how the CSV format or the XML file format needs to be. So we will use a CSV file this time around to do the upload. So we've got a test user CSV file that we have got that we can upload into the system. So we'll click Browse, select the file. This is a CSV type file, so I'll select CSV here. By default, it is CSV. And I'll say I want to send an email to the new user. And I also want to check if the email address for that new user is a unique one on the system. Then I click on Import. The file gets imported, and if it is successful, we'll see a file imported message. If there's an error, we will see an error message show up as well. Let me search if the user has been created. As you can see, the user has been created with the details that we have put into that CSV. Going back to the administration screen, the next in the list is Edit Users List. Click on that. What the Edit Users List does is it allows us to import users in bulk, but this time for updating the users instead of creation. So let's open up that CSV file that we used to create the new user and make some changes. So instead of the last name being GVM100, I will make it GVM99, save it, and then in the import users list, I'll click on Browse, click the CSV I want, and hit Import. And the user has been updated. There's no error. Let me check if it is. As you can see, we changed the last name from GVM100 to GVM99, and the new data has gone in. So that's how you would use CSVs or XML files to add or update a user or users. Next in the list we have got is profiling. Now, profiling is a feature that allows you to add fields, custom fields, tailored fields that you can use to store extra information about a user in the user profile. So let's create one to see how this works. So I'll click on this asterisk icon button, and I get a form to add a profile attribute. Let's call this something called, let's say, employment type. We'll make this selected dropdown. As you can see, as soon as I click on selected dropdown, it gives me an example of how the selected dropdown data should be created. So we need a label. So I will just call it emp type, lowercase emp type. As you can see, the label cannot have any spaces. And so my one doesn't have any spaces either. Now, all the possible values that I need in that dropdown cell. Full-time, and they must be separated by a semicolon. As you can see over here, I can go part-time, casual. And I'll leave the default value as full-time. Now, it can be visible to self, to others. It can be changed, and we want to add this into the advanced filter as well. And we can put an ordering. Let's put the ordering to be 1. We'll move it up the ladder of the other profile attributes. So I'll click on Add. Now, once the profile attribute has been created, we can see that it's been added here, item added, and we can see it in the list over here as well. Now, if we go into a user's profile, we will go into Martin's profile over here. If we click Edit from the user list, right at the bottom over here, you'll notice now a new field has been added called employment type, and it has the values that we put in. You can select one, say full-time, and click Save. Martin now has the employment type set in as well. Now, if I click Advanced Search, you'll also notice that because I clicked it to be available in the search, the employment type is now also available when you're searching for users. If I click employment type full-time and I go search for users, and lo and behold, Martin comes up in the search list. So that's how the profiling or profile attributes work. The next item in the list is user groups. I'll click on user groups. What user groups are is it allows you to form a group of people or clump together a group of people who are from different areas of the system, of different profile, and you can use that group to assign courses or assign programs. So let's go and create a user group. So clicking on the 4-person with the star icon, when I click that, it brings up a form for me to add a user group. Let me create one called technical group. And let's say, say as description, all staff with technical skills. Now I can make this also, whether it's a social group or not. I can say if there's a web page that's dedicated to this group, I can put the URL here. I can add a picture. I can also say if it is a social group, whether it's an open one, anybody can join, or is it a closed one. And also there's a tick box saying allow members to leave. So members who are added in can leave the group anytime they want. I'll leave all of these as default, and I clicked on add. As you can see, my new technical group has been added, and I can now add some users into this group. Let's click on that. Let's add someone in. So let's say I use the profile attribute that I created to filter. Let's say full-time, and I've got Martin there. Add Martin in. I can also now see if I want anyone else in there. I can probably also use, say, for example, my test GVM 99 as well. So all of those users I've got, and I can also put and subscribe users to group. So as you can see now, 2 users have been added to this group. Now, what I can do is now add this group to a course as well. So assign a course to this group. If I click on the icon that says subscribe user group to courses, that means if I select a course, like say, for example, test LMS course, this, and assign it to this group, subscribe user group to these courses, that means Martin and GVM 99 will now get this course. If I click this, so they have now been added into course. If I go back into the users list again and search for my GVM 99 user, you'll notice under course, he has now got the test LMS course that we have assigned him. Going back to users group again, the same way, you can also see that subscribe user group to programs. So this group can also be put into a training program. The next icon there is an edit, which allows me to edit the details of the technical group. And the cross, like all other crosses, means that you can delete this group. Also at the top, as you can see, you can upload group information using a CSV and download list of groups from the system in the form of a CSV. That brings us to the conclusion of today's session. If you need any assistance, you can contact us at support.globalvision.com.au to put in a support ticket, or you can email us support@gvmedia.com.au or call us at 1-800-486-435. Thank you.